Hey, welcome to the podcast. Just letting you know that there could be swearing and or graphic material. I don't know which ones. Listen at your own risk.
From day one, you fought for your life, and you blew everyone away.
Hi, welcome to the podcast.
The first podcast ever.
Dun dun dun.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Alisha.
And this is Changing the Chances.
You may or may not hear the child in the background, but hey, it's kind of what this is about. So welcome. Anyways, we're here. We're talking about our life as
Special needs parents.
Yep. The whole shebang. How it started, how we got here, all the fun things in between. So probably some crying, maybe some anger, possibly some laughing along the way.
More than likely some cursing. So explicit content may be to come.
As this is our first one, we're just jump right into it. This will be
our introduction to the world that we are in, our journey.
So welcome. So basically, just started with me at work. It's a normal day. Nothing exciting. I was experiencing some pains and decided that I probably shouldn't be at work anymore. Decided to leave. So I did. I was headed home. They got worse. Figured this probably isn't right. Got home, called a doctor, all the fun things. They suggested I should go to the hospital. No big deal. It's fine. Everybody's fine. Naturally, as I'm headed to the hospital, which is 30 seconds away, because it's literally across the street from my house, I called my husband at work, started bawling, and just let him know I was going there so that he could meet me there. I get there, walk in, tell him I'm there to get checked out. Nothing exciting. I get in a gown. The lady comes back in, wants to check heartbeats. I inform her that there are twins, so there's two of them that she's looking for. And she informs me that I should have said that earlier. My bad. This is my first go around. I don't have all the answers. I then inform this poor nurse. I'm pretty sure there's something coming out of me. And she's like, oh, so it feels like there is. And I'm like, no, there is. You know,
again, explicit content.
As nurses, they probably hear everything. So she's like, okay, we'll take a peek and no big deal. So she looks and then looks at me and says, I'm going to push a button. And about 30 people are going to run in this room. Don't panic.
Don't panic.
I don't understand what part of that sentence is not supposed to make me panic. I didn't. I'm a pretty mellow person. I'm just sitting there going along for the ride because I honestly have no idea what's happening at this point. Pushes a button, 30 people run in. At this point, I'm lost, dazed, confused. I don't know what's happening. Everybody's talking to everybody except me. They wheel me into the OR, which at the time I did not know was the OR because, again, nobody was talking to me. Immense pain, as I've come to find out, is somebody shoving their hand in places that should never go. As I cringe because, ow, somebody else yells at me because apparently they're trying to put an IV in my arm. Didn't know that was happening. My doctor shows up, can probably tell that I have no idea what's going on. Gets like 6 inches from my face and says, hi, didn't expect to see you here. At this current moment, I am 24 weeks pregnant back in the hospital. So she really wasn't expecting me there. She informs me that
Hadn't you seen her earlier in the week for a checkup on the twins that Monday?
I did. I saw her Monday. And it is now Friday.
And everything was good. The twins were good. Everything was perfect. She said everything was great, right?
Yes, I had a great pregnancy. It was easy peasy up until this exact moment. So they, shove a child back up inside of me. And they wheel me out and they're like, hey, we're going to give you some medication to stop contractions, because obviously that was the pain and how I wasn't feeling well. And tilt you upside down so gravity can help you along. Super fun. Super fun. Jesse has showed up at the hospital at this point in time.
So my experience started with a phone call. I was obviously at work. I was out with a representative, a company representative, and he was taking me out to lunch, and my phone started ringing, and I was talking to this customer rep and didn't think anything of it, and kind of looked at my phone and saw that it was Alisha, and kind of put it back in my pocket, and suddenly it just hit me, like, she's pregnant. She never calls me. Something's up. So I call her back, and she answers, and she's just bawling and telling me that she's going to the hospital. Something's wrong, and I need to get there. So I get off the phone, and I tell the guy I'm with, I'm like, hey, man, I need you to take me back to work. My wife's pregnant. There's something going on. Something's wrong. I need to get to the hospital. So I get on the freeway, flying down to the hospital. I get there, and the front nurse starts giving me a hard time, because obviously I'm in a panic. First rodeo for both of us, and takes a few minutes, but she wouldn't tell me what was going on. And I told her that my wife had called me and that there was problems and stuff, and that she was here. And I guess while I was dealing with that front nurse clerk or whatever, Alisha was back in the OR having a baby shoved back inside of her. And after they had taken her out and put her in a room and flipped the bed vertically to have gravity help, they finally let me in. And I get in there, and just pure chaos, like the tension and just the high stress energy in the room when I walked in. It hit like a tidal wave. Nothing in my life could have ever prepared me to be ready for what was about to go on and what was about to happen. And to this day, like, I don't know how we managed to get through it, but we did.
I don't remember. After that, things got super fuzzy for me, because, I mean, a lot was happening.
So they
constantly
gave Alisha medication. When I first walked in, her OB was there, and she came over and kind of just told me, like, a little bit of what had happened, and said that they were putting in an order to give Alisha some medication to help with contractions, to stop those, and to essentially keep the twins inside, because it was way too early at 24 weeks. And one of the nurses came and told me that I was going to be the one making all the decisions, because mom's really not in her right state of mind. And it was pretty scary. And then they also, as things kind of progressed and the medication didn't work, the bed being vertical didn't work, they told us that twins were coming. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They couldn't stop it. They were coming.
Well, before that, we made all the phone calls, right?
Yeah.
I call my mom.
Yeah, I had to call. I had to make the rounds. I had to make the calls with my brain feeling like scrambled eggs.
As things go on, you realize we've fallen into our roles, and he is the phone caller. Yeah. That is his job. He makes the phone calls.
I try to keep everybody informed.
I mean, the list is small, because then they just branch out from there. But we have solidified this role starting now. He is the phone caller. I do have to say, though, there's a funny part to this story, which is only funny now,
in hindsight.
Given it is 7 years later. My mom called my dad My sweet, sweet dad, who he struggles. He tries to be super supportive in there, but he does. He gets stressed out and he doesn't know what to do. So she calls him.
And gets frustrated.
He's at my house, again, across the street from the hospital. He's mowing my lawn. My mom tells him, Alicia's in the hospital. Babies are coming. So my dad runs across the street, goes to the emergency room, says, I need to know where Alisha Myers is. Lady looks at him and goes, she's not here. And he goes,
we don't have an Alisha Myers.
We don't have one here. And he's like, no, my wife just called me. My daughter is here. Alisha Myers, look again. She's having a baby. Lady's like, I'm sorry. She is not here. So he's like, ugh. So he pulls out his phone. He's like, I'm calling Jesse. Pulls out his phone, finds Jesse in the phone, which says Jesse Chance.
Calls it,
realizes as he's calling, my name is not Myers anymore. My name is now Chance. Says, never mind, hangs up. Says Alisha Chance. They say, yep, sure have. Yep, she's here.
We've got her here. She's here.
My poor dad. It's just a funny story now, but at the time, I'm sure he was panicking and angry and
frustrated and all the things.
All the things.
The day turned chaotic really quick, and that was the beginning of realizing how quickly things change in our world and how quickly things can go bad.
Doesn't matter what you plan.
No, not even a little bit.
Could change at any minute.
So Alicia's old man shows up and her mom shows up.
Did my brother and my sister-in-law show up? Justin and Brooke?
Yeah, Justin showed up. He kind of hung out in the background. I don't think Jay really knew what to do. Everybody, because I mean, I called my mom too, and my mom showed up, and everybody was kind of hanging out in the room while we were trying to keep the twins inside and stuff, and trying to stay calm in this chaotic situation.
Yeah.
And
so it came down to the doctor was like, you have two choices, because they were coming.
So before this, one of the nurses came and told me, like, we're gonna have to rely on you. Mom's not in the right state of mind. You're gonna have to be making a lot of decisions, because there's a lot of things that could go wrong here. Because Alisha,
they weren't going wrong already?
Yeah, yeah, seriously. But Alisha has high blood pressure, and that was already something that we were having to monitor and keep up with during the pregnancy. And they told me that, like, there was a likelihood that I could walk out of that hospital by myself. And it felt like my nuts were in a vice grip. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it was, any dude's gonna know what I'm talking about when you get kicked in the balls and your stomach just suddenly is in your throat, and you can't speak, you can't breathe, and you just want it to stop and go away as quickly as possible. And for me, it didn't. It just hung out, and
it's a lot to take in.
It was the worst thing I ever heard in my fucking life, to be honest with you. And then they came over and they started to tell Alisha and I, like, this is what's going on. They're coming. And, so
you have two options.
Yeah.
Because they were coming. I could have them.
Naturally.
Vaginally. You can have them that way, because they come in that way anyways. But chances are they won't live.
Oh, no. They said that they more than likely wouldn't survive the birth canal just because of how tiny they were.
But it was the safest option for me. Or we could have a C-section, which was the safest option for them. I feel like I was calm and I was informed at the moment. I don't think I made any rash, choices. I didn't rush into anything. I asked, is it safer because it's surgery for me, C-section wise? And she said yes, because obviously with surgery.
It was safer.
Or sorry, the problem was for me is it was
surgery for an emergency C-section, so it was safer for them.
Sorry.
More risk for you.
Yeah. Because it was surgery, and obviously that can be come with its own problems.
Every surgery comes with a risk.
And I just looked at her and I said, but you do them all the time, right? She said, yep, I sure do. And I said, great. Let's do that then.
And they kind of turned around and looked at me, and I'm like, you guys asked me the same question. I'm going to ask her. Like, it doesn't matter what you say. I had to have that help, even knowing that Alisha might have been super emotional and hormonal at the time, but I didn't feel like I could make that decision alone, or that I had the right. Like, we made the decision together to have kids, and I just felt like together we had to make that call on what we were going to do. Because honestly, I'm a guy. I would have picked you because had I lost you and kept the twins, like I would have just felt so lost and overwhelmed. And as a guy, I think that, yeah, it sucks and it hurts if we would have lost them, but you and I could have tried again. But, you know,
I think the consensus kind of feels that way, and mothers
always tend to go for the kids, you know, save the kids.
Which is also super funny because I am so far from maternal, it's ridiculous.
It's true, but when it comes to Piper...
Which also, if you hang around long enough, you'll know. Yeah. You'll hear all the things. My poor brother who is editing this has to hear all the things. Anyways, so we decided to do a C-section. They rolled me out, rolled me back into the ER. Yay. Oh, sorry. OR. My bad.
No, the OR.
OR. You know, all the letters. I don't know. They put the sheet up. Oh, well, we're waiting for the shot.
We're waiting for the...
Okay, all I'm saying is I'm experiencing contractions the entire time.
4 hours.
And that's it. They came quick. 4 hours. From when they started to when they came out. It was it. But they came quickly and they were on top of each other by the time it was time for a C-section. And anybody who doesn't take the drugs, you are a trooper. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the guy that...
They are not comfortable. They hurt. Ow. All I'm saying is, as I'm like, where's the guy? Where's the shot? Get him here right now. We have decided this is happening, so where is he?
Yeah, this guy comes down and he makes this shot. It's like a spinal block right there in front of me. They've got me sitting next to Alisha. She's laying on a bed and they've got this sheet probably just right under her chest. And then they turn her over on her side. In like the middle of a contraction, I can see it looks like a ripple, like in the water. I could see it in her stomach, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? She's having a contraction right now." And in the middle of this contraction, they wanted her on her side and to bring her knees to her chin, so that they could give her this shot. It's like, oh my god, you know, like it just felt like one crazy thing after another. So they give her the shot, and they roll her back over, and they put the sheet back up, and I kind of glance up, and they've got this big giant light with the metal reflector thing that they've got in ORs, like and
something reflective.
It's almost like a mirror, and I kind of happened to look up, and Alicia's OB has a scalpel in her hand, and she kind of pokes Alisha in her stomach, not softly either, just enough to draw blood. I could see blood. And she asked Alisha, "Did you feel anything, Alisha? Did you feel that?" And Alisha says,
Nope.
Feel what? You know, like feel. And she's like, "That's all I needed to hear." And to me, it was like fucking Jack the Ripper style, man. Like she just sliced open my wife at least a good 5 inches, man. And like it was nothing. And that just was like, oh, wow. I can't believe wow. And Alisha kind of looks at me and she's like, "What are you looking at?" And nothing. They just started pulling the twins out and like first they started moving things and scooping things and
moving all those organs that are in the way.
Oh man, it was just wow, blew my mind. And then they were supposed to pull Piper out first, originally. And Caleb started
He's obviously was in distress.
He was really,
so they pulled him out first.
They pulled out Caleb first because he was having some issues right off the bat. And then they pulled out Piper, and I just watched them pull the twins out and pass them through this little window. And then they just started like slopping back organs back into Alicia's stomach. Like they didn't, there was nothing like, hey, this goes here, that goes there. Oh no, it was like clearing off a table. Here, just throw it back in the bucket. Just
oh my god.
It was rough, man.
And you wonder why women have issues after C-sections. You've just rearranged all my organs. They are not where they were supposed to be. Good Lord.
Yeah.
No. All I can remember after that is just wanting to sleep. Damn, Jessie just wouldn't let me.
Yeah, she kept wanting to go to sleep. And a couple of times Alicia's stats dropped a little bit. And the guy that gave her the shot, he was up by her head with me, and he's like, you need to keep her awake. You need to talk to her. And so I'm like, hey, you can't do this. You can't go to sleep. You gotta stay here.
I've been in pain for 4 hours, and I know, trust me, if you've been in pain for 36 hours, I'm sorry, 4 hours was enough for me, and I just wanted to sleep. The pain was gone. I just wanted to sleep.
And then your body going through all that adrenaline and the contractions and everything, like, yeah, I'm sure. And then you started shivering.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I've never had surgery before. I've never had anything major done. This is the first go around, like jump into it head first, all the things. Yeah, I do. I just shivered I feel like for hours. I don't even know. At this point, time is like lost. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what time of day it is. Who knows?
I think it was just your body's reaction. Like it was in shock, like everything. And then I could see it, like even under the blankets that we had on you.
I know. I'm pretty sure they brought me like 5 warm blankets.
Yeah.
I wasn't cold. That wasn't the problem.
No, but you could not stop shaking.
Mm-mm. I do remember. I don't remember, like I said, all the exact stuff. It's a little hazy. But I do know that we told you to go with the babies.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't, because obviously I just had a shot in my back. I can't feel anything from my waist down.
And they wanted to monitor you still also.
So my parents came with me up to the room.
Yep.
And I do remember that because we got in the elevator and the lady's like, this tends to make people feel woozy. It sure did. That little movement from the elevator was like, that's not exciting.
Did my mom go with you and your parents?
As terrible as this sounds, I do not remember your mom that first day at all. Can't picture her, can't hear her, nothing.
She was there.
I don't doubt that, but I just can't remember.
I think she kind of just stood off, and because she was there for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Especially after the nurses told me, like, I might be walking out of here by myself just because things were so crazy. I told my mom, and she was just like, naturally, my mom, and you guys will soon find out if you stick around, is partially to blame for how I am the way I am, but just was
in all fairness, all parents are partially to blame for how we turned out as adults, okay? They've done their best, but at some point, we're all a little screwed up, okay? Sorry.
But after I told my mom what they had said, she's like, I can't believe they would have told you that. And I'm like, no, they need to. They have to. Like, yeah. It's a possibility, and this shit was getting crazy. So, and then I was in the NICU with the twins for the next 12 hours by myself.
Well, you had to have come up and saw me at some point.
Well, I did. Because you were like...
night. Or you spent the night?
I spent the night down there. And one of the nurses, because I fell asleep with my eyes open. I had never done this before. And I fell asleep with my eyes open, listening to the monitors. And one of the nurses finally came and told me, like, you do them no good if you're not rested. Like, you need to take care of yourself. And at this point, they had given Piper a drug called Versed.
Was it this early?
Yeah, it was really...
It's all blurry. All the meds, all the things.
But it was because you weren't there. This is how I remember it, is because you weren't able to be there, and it was just me.
Gotcha.
And it shook me to my core to see this tiny, translucent little angel that was mine legitly start flopping around like a fish almost. And I asked the nurse what the hell was going on, because it was almost an immediate reaction after giving this medication. And I think they were giving it to her
it's like a sedative.
Like it's meant for like a sedative and to like mellow you out and stuff, and keep you calm. And it triggered a seizure in Piper apparently, and it wrecked me. And I think that was the first time that I cried in the midst of all this. And that's just not something I
Oh no, he is not a crier. I mean, if I do the math, I don't know it's off the top of my head, but we'd been together how many years by the time they came?
Well, no, we were together.
By the time they came, I don't know how many years. 10?
Something like that, yeah.
10-ish?
10-ish years.
And I'd never, ever seen anything that looked remotely like a tear or a wet eyeball. Like, nothing. So, I mean, this is big. This is big, people. I know you don't understand, but it is like huge.
I think people even tried to make bets at our wedding on if I would cry when I saw Alisha.
I should have bet because I knew he wouldn't. Guess what? He didn't. But I knew that about him.
I was speechless. I didn't cry, but I was speechless.
That's fine.
But
I didn't think you'd cry. I'm not upset. No worries.
But to see your own flesh and blood laying there so helpless before she was supposed to be there.
No, I know. 24 weeks. They are humans, people. They are like tiny little humans.
Little hands.
You can just hold them in the palm of your hand. It's so crazy because at that point,
they were the size of a dollar bill.
They still hadn't opened their eyes. Their eyelids were still fused shut. Craziest thing you'll ever see.
That was interesting.
But yeah, they're just tiny people, and you can just see everything because their skin's not fully formed. Like, it's fully formed. Sorry, that sounds crazy.
No, their skin's there.
It's, like,
it's
so
just not
thin,
fully developed.
And it's like paper, and it's just fragile, and
it's almost like that dough that you make
like phyllo dough.
Yeah, that's super
make, like,
that like you can see
baklava out of.
Yeah, that you can see through. Because you have to be careful touching them because you can legitly pull their skin off.
I know. And they say don't rub. If you want to touch, you need to pat because otherwise you can tear their skin because it's so fragile.
So right then and there, I made a rule. Like, nobody touches her unless they need to. Like,
no one did. The only people that touched her was us and nurses.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But it was like, no.
And it's so crazy, these little human beings, because obviously they're so tiny and they need all the help in the world, which just shows you how miraculous your body is to create this person or people with no problems on most occasions. And so when they come into this world way too early, all the help, all the things, I can't even begin to even remember or count how many machines and fluids and IVs and that they had in them. I don't even know how their bodies held all the things. Like,
well, Caleb's couldn't.
Well, yeah, they kept blowing his veins because there was too much fluid going into his body.
They called in a specialist. The twins needed.
Her name was Denise. She was amazing.
Yeah, she was a godsend. All of those nurses and doctors and
Yes, I would not.
everybody at Intermountain Healthcare and Primary Children's Hospital here in Salt Lake, they're just amazing. But they called in this specialist on her day off because imagine, if you will, a single strand of hair. That is how big their veins were.
Well,
And
they
were trying to legitly thread these little tubes into their little veins so that they could give them fluids and stuff, because like they needed them.
Yeah, the fluids, the meds, all the things, because they were giving them so much that their veins were bursting.
Their little bodies just weren't designed to be in the world yet and have anything injected into them.
Yep. So she did, and she got it in super quick. She was so good at it.
And she stayed. She did a full shift.
Yep.
And I told that woman, like, anything I can get you, anything you want. And all she asked for was a Diet Coke and a coffee. And I'm like, anytime I see you while I'm here, you will get a Diet Coke and coffee. If it's the only thing I can do to repay you, because nothing I do ever in my lifetime could repay this woman. I mean, just she didn't have to come in on her day off. Not even a little bit.
Different breed of people.
100%.
Different breed of people. So I didn't get to see them till the next day.
Yeah. And
they came at 2 p.m. 2:20-ish p.m.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to see them. I don't even remember. Not till the next morning, at least.
Oh, I think it was like, because I had gone up after Piper's little seizure, and I had told the nurse right there, I'm like, whatever you just gave her, what is it? And she told me, and it somehow did not make it into her chart that she had that reaction at the time. But I told Alisha.
Well, as we learn, things don't make it into their charts a lot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, here is the real world we live in, as we continue to learn every day.
Yeah.
So,
But
chart
Alisha,
everything,
it was pretty.
do all the things, remember all the things, because I promise you, doctors aren't going to remember everything.
Yeah, your child, you are your child's advocate 110% from the get-go. And also, never let these doctors dictate what kind of calls you're going to make for your child. We'll get a little more into it, but we've not seen eye to eye with a few nurses and a few doctors on some things.
We have some stories.
It was probably early morning. Probably 9.
Yeah.
They got you in there pretty quick, because when I woke up, you were already down there. And I don't even know how I was able to sleep. Like, I must have just been so tapped out,
Your
exhausted.
body eventually just shuts down.
Yeah, because I was just sleepwalking at that point. Before the nurse told me that I had, like, you need to be alert, you need to be rested, like, all those things. And I just couldn't imagine leaving the twins' side, but I had to. And then the next morning you were there with them.
And unfortunately, there's not anything you can do. All you can do is be there, because you literally just can't provide the things that the nurses and the doctors and all the things that actually, help them survive. I don't know.
I think the star of the show is starting to get upset, starting to protest.
She is. She's feeling very left out. But this is the first go around. She doesn't understand what's happening.
Yeah, she doesn't get it. But yeah, so the twins were here. They were in the world, and nobody was ready for it. No, and that has begun our journey into special needs parents. Yeah. Piper does things on Piper's terms. Always has.
And always will.
So she was pretty much the one pushing out.
The joke is her foot was hanging out. She was ready to join this world.
Yeah, she was kicking her way out, jailbreak, whether anybody was ready or not. She was the only one that was ready.
Oh, my goodness.
But,
hey, such are kids. You're never ready for anything. They just throw it at you. Good luck. Right? That's how it is.
that was the first little introduction of the craziness, but then all the medical problems started stacking up.
Right.
All the things, because 24-week gestational,
Okay.
nothing that young is supposed to be out.
No. So the next day, I feel like the next day was just full of obviously doctors, nurses, us, all the crying. There was lots of crying. So much crying. Purely because who wants to see their children in little bubbles with 5 million wires hanging out of them? It's not fun.
Oh, there she is. It's your world, Piper, and we're just in it. But yeah, we did the best we could at that moment to try and keep up with everything that was going on, all the terms and doctor lingo and just emotions and telling everybody, retelling, and yeah, it was intense. It was crazy. Caleb from the get-go had a lot of issues. He
struggled.
He struggled a lot, and then
But apparently that's also a trend.
Apparently
males have a harder time.
that early
I don't know all the
gestational.
statistics, I don't know all the things, but according to nurses and doctors in the NICU, males struggle.
And have a less survival rate at being preemies.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the
So he did. Unfortunately, we struggled a lot with that day. There was a lot of flatlining.
Yeah, not a lot. He flatlined up, 3 times that first day.
Yeah. I consider that a lot.
Yeah, that
In
is
one
a
day?
lot. Yeah, that is.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And they just kept telling us every time he flatlines, it causes more brain damage. They predicted that they had brain damage from being so early already.
Yeah, they had, I can't remember how, when they took x-rays.
They took a CT and an MRI and
I don't
X-ray.
even know when this happened.
And I don't know if it was just a standard procedure, just Caleb and his struggles. And
Yeah, he had so many struggles. And
flatlining, kidney issues,
all the things.
liver issues, lung issues.
Oh, yeah,
brain
x-rays.
bleeds.
Yeah, so both kids
Yeah.
have brain bleeds.
Both of them had grade 4 brain bleeds, which
is
any of
pretty
you-
much the highest
yeah.
you can have, which means lots of brain damage.
it's essentially like having 2 massive strokes is what the doctors said. They're like the best way to describe it. It's like they had 2 massive strokes, and they showed us the CT scans and the x-rays, and they had these 2 big black blotches in their brain that weren't supposed to be there. They were filled with blood. They were these giant pockets filled with blood. And then they started telling us the mental retardation, cerebral palsy, vegetable, no quality of life. You name it, they were telling us.
They want you to be prepared for worst case scenario of all things.
Yeah.
And I don't know how well you can say I'm prepared for that, but I don't know, they're your children. What do you, I don't.
You just, you do what you can at the moment. There's no guidelines, there's no handbook or anything that's going to help you, in those times. You just have to go with what your heart tells you.
Yeah.
That's what we did. The next day, we
we are not religious people. That's not our forte. That's just personal choice.
We're more spiritual than...
More spiritual,
yeah,
not
more,
religious.
Yeah, we're more spiritual than religious.
But, in a time like that, I think you're reaching for anything that will help you feel better about what's happening that you can't control. So,
I think just
my sister-in-law, her family, her parents are very religious. They are amazing people.
Wonderful people.
She asked if we wanted her dad to come by and say a blessing.
Blessing,
a prayer over the kids. So we said yes. So he came in and did that, which was really nice.
Yeah, it was. It was rough.
Again,
amongst
lots of crying.
Yep.
All the things.
Everybody. And I know that it was hard for us, but I know it was hard for our family as well. Your brothers, your mom, your dad, my mom. I know Justin there for a little while didn't even want to get close and look at him
he tried. he made an effort.
He did. And I don't blame him, honestly. Had they not been my children, I don't know if I would have done anything different than Jay did, because it was a lot. That's for him. That was, with you, it's his little sister that is going through this traumatic thing, and even with Maxwell, it was a lot for everybody, and
and I think that it's really hard for people to understand, how do you support somebody
other than say
in that
you're
situation
sorry and give them hugs, and it's hard.
I have to
awkward.
tell you, I have to say, my least favorite phrase ever is "God had a plan."
Let's not get into that so soon.
We will get into it, I promise. But is my least favorite line ever. Okay? I know it comes from a good place. I understand that. I completely, totally understand that. Hate it. It doesn't make people feel better. Okay? Listen to these words. It doesn't make people feel better.
So that was our first 2 days.
Yep. That is our first 2 days as being parents. It's actually more like a day and a half.
Yeah.
If you want to be specific. I know it was a little crazy. First of all, it's our first podcast. So yes, we're going to screw up and say all the stupid things. And I don't talk loud enough, apparently, as I've been informed. I will try and do better. And all the things. The next episode's going to get real. Yeah. If this wasn't real enough for you, it's going to get real.
We appreciate anyone who took the time to listen.
Right, because I would not want to listen to my voice all day. I'm not going to lie. I think it's a personal thing. People don't like the sounds of their voice.
I think I sound weird.
Agreed, right? Yeah, but it's fine. Here I am. This is my therapy. Thank you for listening or not listening at this point. I'm pretty sure it's only family members. Sorry if I offend any of you. I love you all.
From the bottom of our hearts, we love you all.
For reals.
No joke.
For reals. And we'll see you guys next time. I'm not really sure what our podcast schedule is going to look like at this current moment, because my brother is just being kind enough to help us out. So we're just
whenever he's got time,
figuring it out as we go.
Yeah. But
anyways, so we will see you guys at the next podcast. Hopefully, I don't know when that will be again.
Same bat channel, same same bat time.
Sure. Yep, totally, 100%. Where can they find us? I don't even know where they can find us. We don't know yet.
We'll get all these things squared up. We'll do a little more research.
We'll figure out the things.
Because we've never had our ducks in a row. Hell, they're not even in the same fucking pond.
We have ducks? Shit. Yeah. I thought we had swans, so you got me.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a pond, so that's what I'm saying. We're going to try and get our ducks in a row. Or whatever. Dot our I's, cross our T's.
Oh, good Lord. Anyway, so I think the first couple are going to be a little tough, but you'll get
If you
into
can
our
just bear with us and
all the things.
follow us on our journey, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Hopefully we can help somebody.
Right? Because it's lonely out there, people. Okay?
It's cold.
It's cold.
It's cold.
It's cold.
It's cold out there in the wastelands when you're alone.
Wow. I don't know. I guess you can feel that way. You're not alone. We're here.
So, yeah. We'll talk to everybody later.
Bye.
Deuces.